serves to remind all Americans of this country's noble achievements of the past and the hope a democratic society offers for the future. The original concept of the memorial was that of Doane Robinson, the state historian of South Dakota. He proposed the carving of several romantic Western figures of American history. Gutzon Borglum, the American-born artist and sculptor commissioned to execute the project, felt the memorial should be of national significance instead of regional interest, and suggested President as appropriate subject. The selection of Mount Rushmoore as the location for the memorial was a logical choice, since it offered several advantages over the other sites under consideration. The massive granite cap of this mountain was of the desired texture and large enough to permit a sculpture of a scale consistent with the purpose of the memorial. Mount Rushmore's southern exposure also influenced Borglum's selection, since proper lighting was desired to enhance the aesthetic appeal of the memorial. Construction began August 10, 1927, following the formal program in which President Calvin Coolidge officially dedicated the National Memorial. Because of inclement weather and lack of funds, 14 years were required to reveal a sculpture as we now see it. The actual time spent in construction of the memorial was 6.5 years. In the early construction years, private donations supported the work. Later, however, as more funds were required, the federal government assumed the financial responsibility for the memorial. When completed, federal appropriations accounted for over 80% of the approximately $1 million spent on the sculpture. Death stayed the hand of Gutzon Borglum in March of 1941. All work on Mount Rushmore ceased later the same year. No additional carving has been done on the mountain since. There are no plans to add other presidents to the group. The forming of the faces was accomplished by skilled drillers, powdermen, hoist operators, and blacksmiths, working under the supervision of sculptor Gutzon Borglum. A sizable crew, sometimes numbering more than 35 men, was engaged during full-scale operations. Good safety practices and precautions resulted in few injuries and no fatalities during the construction. The first step in the construction of the memorial was to blast away the surface rock and reach solid granite. This was accomplished by the powdermen, using measured amounts of dynamite to remove the unwanted rock. In time, the powdermen became so skilled in their work that they could blast to within inches of the desired surface. Once solid granite was reached, carvers suspended over the side of the mountain in harnesses or bosun chairs used jackhammers to give general shape to the faces. With a smaller air hammer in a process known as bumping, the workmen brought the sculpture to its finished appearance. Over 400,000 tons of rock were removed from the mountain, and most of it still lies where it fell below the faces. The sculpture is approximately 1,400 feet from the visitor center and about 400 feet above the viewing terrace. The head measures 60 feet from the chin to the top of the head. Each nose is 20 feet long, each mouth 18 feet wide, and the eyes are 11 feet across. The sculpture is carved to the scale of men 465 feet tall, but the carving was not intended as a memorial to be known only for its gigantic proportions. Borglum once said, "A monument's dimension should be determined by the importance to civilization of the events commemorated." Mount Rushmore's importance as a memorial is as lofty in meaning as it is in size. The sculpture is not a memorial to the 4 presidents who appeared here. Rather, they are symbolic of the establishment and the growth of this great nation. Washington represents independence, liberty, an inspired vision of the nation's future and the dignity of the presidency. Thomas Jefferson ensured that the newly formed nation should be self-governed, entrusted only to a government by the people. Abraham Lincoln typifies the permanency of our nation, preserving that which Washington and Jefferson began. His hand guided the destiny of our country in its darkest hour, and pointed the way to freedom and tolerance for all its people. To this political freedom, Theodore Roosevelt extended economic freedom. He was the trust buster, the conservationist, the friend of the common man. His leadership inspired a march toward new frontiers, the forging of new connecting links that bound the West to the East. The memorial is decidedly American in its conception, in its magnitude, and in its meaning. The sculptor, with rare discernment, transmitted to the carved faces of these 4 Americans the high ideals, the calm judgment, the resolute courage that are the qualities of great statesmen, qualities that drive men of vision on to high endeavors, that compel men to scale the heights of unparalleled achievement. These values express themselves in the love of freedom, compassion for humanity, a willingness to sacrifice life and possessions to achieve noble aims. These are the intangibles that live in the hearts of great men. They are eternal and endure forever. These are some of the unseen values that give meaning and purpose to this symbolic memorial, this shrine of democracy.
Oh, where? I hope so. Tell me if it's off.
Mom! bewitching melody of faint bugles blowing reveille, far-off drums beating the long roll. This is the story of the American man-at-arms. His name and fame are the birthright of every American citizen. In his youth and strength, his love and loyalty, he gave all that mortality can give. He has never failed us, for were he to do so, a million ghosts in olive drab, in brown khaki, in blue and gray, would rise from their white crosses, thundering those magic words: duty, honor, country.
When we came up to decide to do this concert, naturally I decided to try to pick mostly patriotic music and American music by American composers. Vanini, that's a mouthful, and this is entitled Overture in B flat.
I always look for everybody else's kids and worry about.
One of those rocks over on the other side.
Oh, yeah? What, on the other side of the tunnel?
Well, down a way.
Oh, yeah?
Hard to see him. So I'm coming this direction.
Maybe I can get a picture of him. If I can see him.
Pretty one.
Kelly, did you see the chipmunks, guys? Did you see the chipmunks?
No.
Right here.
There's one.
Right here, little one.
Oh, that's cute. There one. There's one. Excuse me, babe. I don't need to walk into that. Take a picture of Carrie? Mom, take a picture of Carrie? Honey, please just let her have it. I don't know. She was pretty for you. I got a daddy. Daddy! Are you going to class?
This is the Cathedral Spirals off of Needles Highway in Custer State Park. What?
How's that, Dad?
Well, you didn't stay long enough.
That's what we saw from the fire tower in Custer State Park, Morgan. Those are the spires we saw from the fire tower.
light's on.
Now you're taking pictures. Push the red button and you stop. You're right.
Okay.
Nail is through here.
Oh, go ahead. I'm practicing.
Red light on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I am. I'm on Needles Highway. Well, I've already said that. Let you do the talking. This is the cathedral spires from a different angle. You can see Ellsworth from here? Is that what you're saying? What's the name of this? Coolidge Fire Tower?
Yeah. Coolidge Fire Tower. Black in there, it doesn't work, huh?
No. Did you turn that button that's supposed to clear?
Yeah.
My light's blinking. I wonder if my battery's going dead.
Nothing else to do to it.
while I was taking pictures, I stopped here with the idea of taking a few minutes for contrast. Probably not over 5 miles away, we took the last pictures at Coolidge Fire Tower, over 6,000 feet up. And here we are in gently rolling wooded hills on what they call the wild animal loop in Custer State Park. But we haven't found any wild animals yet. I did get that good picture yesterday of the buffalo. What we're looking at here is the buffalo corrals. They're used primarily in the fall of the year when they thin their herd down from 14 to 100 to about 900, and they have auctions. People come from all over the United States and Canada to buy the buffalo for breed or to slaughter. Several movies have been filmed in Custer State Park. This blockhouse that you're looking at is all that remains of a portion of the movie set, How the West Was Won. Your mother insists, Margaret insists, that I have to speak more into this thing or we won't know what we're seeing. And I guess maybe she's right. So you're looking at a blockhouse that was used in the movie How the West Was Won. I'm back in a wildlife nature area. Special permit. Restrictions on it. I just rode back hoping I might walk back in here some ways and see some animals. You can see that it's hardly more than a track going back from where I left the truck. Birds are singing all around. I don't see any signs of any animals. I don't want to get too far back in here. I'll get out of breath before I get to the truck. So if there happens to be a buffalo or something, I think he'll get there before I do. But it is pretty and quiet. You probably can hear the motor running on this camera. Standing on that little trail, looking down just a few feet, maybe 50 feet, and 10 feet below me is a dry creek bed. No sign of water, but you can see what the brush, limbs, and tree stumps piled up. That when it rains, this must be a raging torrent. And it certainly wouldn't be wise to get caught in a place like that when it started to rain up on the mountains. something maybe salty. Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep, right? It must be young ones, yeah. Downtown Custer, South Dakota. Taking a picture of the old hotel across the street. Got another shot down here I'd like to get. I don't know if I can reach it or not, but we'll try. Main Street to Custer, South Dakota. This is a stone house in the park. We are in Horse Thief Park. It's Sunday morning, about 9:30. We're getting ready to go over to Rapid City and see if we can find Luann, and then continue on up to Mount Rushmoore. We were there Friday night. We'll intend to go back again. Still in the campground. I don't know if we got anything on the other one. This is Horse Teeth Campground, about 17 miles from Mount Rushmoore on a Sunday morning. We're about ready to leave the campgrounds. I think our first step is to, your mother's on the way down to the office. I think she wants to make a phone call. And then we're going to head out probably to meet Luann. We want to go back to Mount Rushmoore today to see what we missed. And then go to the Passion Play this evening. Try to cover the campground from here. I'm looking up where there's a lot of tent sites in the playground area. This is a community center here. They got a big standing fireplace in the center of it. We look back up towards the mountain in back of where we're camped. We come, you see the bathhouse and the laundry room, and then the mountain in back of it that I've climbed a couple times, not all the way to the top. If I get a chance, I want to take the camera up tomorrow. There's what appears to be an old hunting camp, abandoned, and a mine. Moved about 8 or 10 feet over to get away from that building. I want to take a shot at this rock formation through the trees. I don't know how it'll come out, but they aren't 50-foot rolls of move. Taking a picture of Luann and Ansel outside of their apartment building. We're just getting ready to leave in Rapid City. They're going home at the end of July.
during full-scale operation. Good safety practices and precautions resulted in few injuries and no fatalities during the construction. The first step in the construction of the memorial was to blast away the surface rock and reach solid granite. This was accomplished by the powdermen using measured amounts of dynamite to remove the unwanted rock. In time, the powdermen became so skilled in their work that they could blast within inches of the desired surface. Once solid granite was reached, carvers suspended over the side of the mountain in harnesses or bosun chairs used jackhammers to give general shape to the faces. With a smaller air hammer in a process known as bumping, the workmen brought the sculpture to its finished appearance. Over 400,000 tons of rock were removed from the mountain, and most of it still lies where it fell below the faces. The sculpture is approximately 1,400 feet from the visitor center and about 400 feet above the viewing terrace. The heads measure 60 feet from the chin to the top of the head. Each nose is 20 feet long, each mouth 18 feet wide, and the eyes are 11 feet across. The sculpture is carved to the scale of men 465 feet tall, but the carving was not in...
You're too fast for me. You're too fast for me.
first portraits of Mr.
Okay. You're taking the mountain with you, and I got your head right in with all these others. Looking at Devil's Tower, we stopped at a marker about 3 miles away. Haven't read it yet.
Yeah. They just want to be sure there's nobody left hanging on that wall. No way.
I would climb it, that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, if I was.
But I'm not a climber.
I'm not even a very good walker.
You'd think there'd be
What, are you going to
someone
grab a picture there? Or you
with this fellow down below, unless the guy up on top is with him.
Those two people up there? Was the shops open or? There's one on the ledge right there.
The battery's going down.
I think that one might be a girl.
Where's the other one? Do you see it, Mark?
They'll probably rest at that column.
Well, the ones on this lower ledge, they look stick their head out every once in a while. I don't know if they grow in the
Oh, okay. Well, not these kind of toys. I'm talking about the cars and stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, well. Oh, that's good. No, right here. I want you to look up there. You like that angle? You like that?
Yeah, that's cool.
There, the other one's out on the ledge now. It's standing up. Let me see if I can. Yeah, hang on a second. Put the wide angle. This is the wide angle. Put the zoom on.
Hey, you want to climb up in there like Dad take our picture? Up on them racks up there?
Sure.
Huh?
Okay.
Want to?
What?
Want to?
On all the way up to the very top thing?
Oh, no. No. Just a few rocks up here.
Oh, there's those little people.
You want to?
They've been on that ledge,
He's been straddling that for a long time.
I know, I think his legs would get awful tired.
Gone is still at that tree.
Maybe that's, maybe that's,
That would be the picture.
Right here. Go farther.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You look like you ran into a door.
he got me.
Oh, that was happening.
Oh, there's two people there.
There's three.
No, there's two people at that last tree.
Yeah. Well, one there that a long time looks like a girl, and I think she's coming back down. She looks like she's coming back down.
Where's she? Where's she at?
Up there, one of those trees. You can't see her very good. She's the one in the red jacket.
Where's she, down around the tree, Marge?
Still at the tree. She has shorts on.
Does she?
Oh, there she is.
It looks like it's...
What do you want, Mommy? Pick you up?
Mom, we're going to go out there so we can take a picture of it.
Well, if you want to climb up a few rocks up there, we can.
Okay, come on.
Oh, that's enough of that.
Yeah, it's enough of it. I was trying to find her.
There, now she's here by the second tree, coming down.
Yeah, I see her now.
Guy has a plaid shirt on. There.
Well, we wanted to come around and get you.